Want to know the best tips that I followed when I went in for my ileostomy reversal surgery? Let me help you out by giving you all the details on everything that helped me survive those first few weeks after my reversal. Why did I have an ileostomy and get it reversed? Well, my name is Jelena, and I was diagnosed with stage 3 rectal cancer at 34. So part of that treatment was to cut the cancer out of me, and during that surgery, my surgeon gave me a temporary loop ileostomy to allow the resected site a chance to heal. I had the ileostomy for 7 months before it was reversed, and I was so excited to get it done. I was definitely not as nervous as I was before the initial surgery when I had the ileostomy created. So I just dove right into doing some research to figure out what I needed to do to prepare for this. First, I wanted my hospital stay to be as short as possible because for the previous surgery, the lower anterior resection or LAR surgery, where they cut out a foot of my colon and gave me the ileostomy, I was in the hospital for 5 days. It was a long 5 days of healing, getting my blood drawn and vitals taken at all hours of the day and night, being connected to wires and tubes and all of the machines that run them. It's long, it's horrible, it's miserable. You don't get much sleep, you just want to get home. So in my research, the main thing that the doctors want to see you be able to do before they'll consider releasing you is pass a bowel movement. In my experience from my previous surgery, I learned that most of the pain medications that they'll give you, they constipate you, including the morphine, which is connected to that button that you can use to self-medicate. So if I wanted to pass that first bowel movement quickly, I needed to go very light on the pain meds. My goal was to not use the morphine and just rely on Tylenol for pain management. Of course, if my pain was really bad, I would allow myself to use stronger pain medications, but I wanted to mentally prepare myself to just take the minimum that I needed. Next, I wanted to know what supplies, if any, that I would want to have on hand and be ready with for whatever the aftermath of the reversal held for me. First, I'll go over the supplies that I needed and brought with me for my hospital stay that you're going to want to take with you too. I learned from my previous hospital stays that I didn't really feel like changing out of the hospital gown while I was there until it was time for me to head home. So I just packed one pair of clothing with me to go to the hospital. I did like wearing underwear though underneath the hospital gown, so I packed plenty of pairs of underwear. Then the basic toiletries, toothbrush and toothpaste, a hairbrush, deodorant, the basics. Then there were 3 new additions to the supplies. The first thing that you want to be sure to pack are diapers. Accidents are almost a definite given after your surgery, so being prepared with some diapers is a great idea. My accidents were contained to mostly just leakage and would happen like when I would get up to go to the bathroom, but other patients have much larger accidents, so it's better to be prepared for the worst and then hope for the best. Next up is diaper rash cream. It's important to start applying this after your very first bowel movement. My first one, it looked pretty normal, and I thought, oh, this isn't going to be that bad after all. No, the first few looked pretty normal, but then they kept coming and coming and coming, and they got looser and looser and looser, and that's when it really starts to burn. Applying the cream after the very first bowel movement will help protect your butt for later on in the day when you're on your 20th bowel movement. Apply it every time after you go to attempt to keep your butt from feeling like it's on fire. This is also where the diapers come in pretty handy, because most diaper rash creams, they're pretty greasy and they can stain your underwear pretty bad. So wearing a diaper will help prevent you from ruining a bunch of pairs of underwear. The third thing you're going to want to bring is 1, maybe even 2 rolls of some really soft toilet paper. If you're going in for an ileostomy reversal surgery, that means you've been to the hospital at least once before to have that ileostomy created, which means you know how thin and scratchy that hospital toilet paper is. You don't want to rub your butt raw with that hospital toilet paper after your first few bowel movements. Depending on how long your hospital stay is, 1 roll might be enough, but who's buying just 1 roll? So bring a second with you just so you're overly prepared. You're going to want to make sure you've got plenty at home too. Next up is something that you should ask your surgeon at your pre-surgery appointment. What kind of food should you be eating when you get home from your surgery? If there's any kind of special diet that they want you to follow, you'll want to buy those foods, or at least as much of them as you can, before you go in for your surgery. Try to plan ahead a few meals, too, that follow these diet restrictions. Many surgeons recommend following a low-residue diet immediately after you come home from your surgery. This diet is made up of easily digested foods that are supposed to allow you to have fewer bowel movements daily and also alleviate symptoms like gas, bloating, and diarrhea. Here's a short list of some foods that are on the low-residue diet. Grains, such as white bread, white pasta, saltines, cream of wheat, and grits. Vegetables. Well-cooked vegetables without seeds, like green beans, carrots, spinach, beets, peeled potatoes, and tomato sauce with no skin. Fruits. Any without the seeds or skin, like bananas, cantaloupe, honeydew, applesauce, and canned fruits. Dairy. Dairy is okay as long as you aren't lactose intolerant. And tender, lean, and soft meats, including eggs, are okay too. You'll want to avoid raw fruits, raw vegetables, nuts and seeds, tough meats, and whole grains. Now, what else will you want to have on hand at home once you're released? The first helpful item is some Dermaplast spray. It's a pain-relieving spray that you can use to cool down the burning feeling on your butt after going to the bathroom a dozen or more times a day. After passing a bowel movement and cleaning up, I would use the spray to cool my butt down, and then I would apply another barrier of diaper rash cream on top of that to protect my butt from the next bowel movement. Next up is a bidet. Either a handheld one or one that attaches to your toilet is a great splurge that can help make passing all these bowel movements a little less painful. Using a bidet minimizes the amount of rubbing that you'll have to be doing to the sensitive skin, and you'll just have to dab yourself dry a little bit instead of having to rub raw skin to get the waste off of it. Once you're home, you'll start to realize what kind of accidents or leakage that you'll be dealing with. I never had any full-blown accidents. I would just have leakage on my way to going to the bathroom, which meant I didn't really need the protection of a full-blown diaper. A sanitary napkin or menstrual pad was all that I really needed. I used some regular absorbency ones and just positioned them more towards the back of my underwear, but what was even more comfortable were the extra long nighttime ones. Pads are much cheaper than diapers too, and a little more discreet to take extras with you if you leave the house. One more thing that can be helpful is a sitz bath. Any woman that gave birth vaginally is probably pretty familiar with this, but for any of you out there that aren't familiar with it, let me show you what one is. So this bowl, it rests in between the seat and the bowl of the toilet. Then you've got this bag, and you fill this with warm water. There's a valve here that can slow down the flow of the water from the bag into the bath here. And then the hose, you can either have it going through the front or the back. And it's got a little hole in it for the water to come out. You sit for however long you can tolerate it, for up to 15 minutes at a time. For me, it felt soothing, but the water kind of stimulated a bowel movement, so I could only last a few minutes before I had to empty it and get it off the toilet so that I could pass another bowel movement. I hope that this list is helpful for you as you're preparing for your ileostomy reversal surgery. If you enjoyed this video, please consider clicking on the like button below here. And to hear more about my experience preparing for, going through, and recovering at home from my ileostomy reversal, click on the video right up here. Thank you for watching.